Hello, and welcome to Brand Clarity by Visions to Images, where we focus on strategy and business development for entrepreneurs at all different levels through branding and digital marketing techniques. Susie Liberatore is the founder and art director of Visions to Images Creative Services, LLC. For the last decade, she has personally been instrumental in bridging gaps between the global digital market and neighborhood locations for some of the biggest brands around. Growth is possible for even a single location with the right professional branding techniques and Susie's signature strategies of Visions to Images. Stand out from your competitors and bring your visions to life while watching your sales skyrocket. Your host for this is Susie Liberatore, owner of Visions to Images. Hello, everybody. Today on the podcast, I have Elinor Cohen. And she's a creative marketing strategist and confidence coach. And I'm excited to chat with her because she's amazing. So tell me how you got started in this amazing field.
So I've been in marketing for over 15 years, and I've worked in agencies and also on the client side. And if there's a marketing channel that existed, I probably had my hands on it. And I decided to take this more online and digitally. I did Marie Forleur's B School, and that kind of like set the stage for the rest of my career. So the past 8 years when I've been coaching and consulting together, I guess it started really because of Marie Forleur's B School and all the people I met and all the opportunities that came along as I met people from her school and all the communities. So Marie Forleo, I don't know if you've ever heard of her B School program. What happens is the content is pretty good. I mean, it's not like amazing, but the most amazing part was being a part of the Facebook community. And once I started understanding the goodness of the Facebook community, I started really getting, joining other people's groups. And I'm like, wow, this is something called a Facebook economy. Because we were like, I was meeting people, buying from them, they were buying from me, just making offers. It was really interesting. And I just kept going down that route, that path, and just fine-tuning what I was doing and how I was doing it. And here I am today.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing. So you've always been in this field.
It was very different. So my career growth really started from working in the online gambling industry. So what I was really good at has nothing to do with my likes, dislikes, hobbies, or passions, is getting people to play poker. So if you've ever heard of the World Series of Poker, it's the biggest poker tournament in the world. I worked for this brand and also for Caesars, and I helped them acquire customers online. Through advertising mostly, but also organically through SEO and Google advertising. Facebook for online gambling wasn't really allowed.
Yeah, you are very diverse and talented in a lot of different things.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I feel like you and I have talked a lot and we're always kind of brainstorming things and whatnot. And I think that there's so much that you do. I mean, besides writing and finding confidence in people's stuff and coaching and stuff, there's so much more to it. And you have the SEO background. You have a lot of different diverse fields.
Marketing channels.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really good. And I think that's kind of what sets you apart in what you do.
Thank you. Yeah. So I do have a lot of testing in the digital marketing world. Consumer behavior is, you can test it. Because you get immediate results. There's immediacy of results. So you put money into an ad account and you immediately know whether your ad works or not. And when you work for lucrative industries like online gaming, you can throw a lot of money to testing and really understanding how people buy. But then there's getting them to the funnel and then making sure that each step of the funnel, I mean, there's really complex funnels from the moment they actually land on your sales page to making a deposit. There's a lot of different compliance and regulations, things that have to go into place. So I also had my hands on contracts and compliance and regulations, which is something I surprisingly like dealing with, contracts and regulations. Yeah. So, and really understanding how someone starts from, being interested in a product or service to making the purchase, which is like a 10-step funnel.
Mm-hmm. So tell me now what you're most excited about.
In general, or like work related?
I mean, sure, in general or in business, life, whatever. I mean, everybody always talks about business, but if you have personal things, I'm always for that too.
So I just moved to a new house. I became a homeowner, and that's exciting. Not exciting,
Yeah.
because it taught me a lot about managing and balancing my life.
Mm-hmm.
I also have been through a divorce. I'm a single mom, and one of the most traumatic things in life is divorce. And when I went through a divorce, I became like, I had severe anxiety, and I had to deal with a lot of like emotional things that came up. And so that took me to a side adventure of really understanding how to navigate my emotional landscape and to become a more grounded, less reactive, less anxious human being. And I decided to go study. So I practiced yoga for quite a few years, yoga, meditation, and breath work. And I decided to go study to be a teacher in an ashram in the Bahamas a few years ago.
What?
Yeah. So I lived there for 30 days and I studied to be a teacher, and I came back and I decided I was going to teach yoga, and I taught yoga and for a while, but I kind of let that go. It was more of a personal journey for me, and I integrate that into my coaching. But I really have worked really hard and diligently on what it means for my blueprint of my body and soul to have a balanced, slow, intentional life. And I'm not rushing and running around from thing to thing. And then I kind of find that always comes back into my life, always comes back in different waves. And like now it's coming back even more, because I'm finding myself completely out of balance because I moved. And so I don't know, I find that it's like exciting to revisit this part of my life again, yoga and just slowing down and really understanding. So my business has grown, but now I'm like, I need to like up level and understand how to outsource and still be a very grounded human being and be present with my child. So I'm excited to relearn that at a new level of business.
I think that's a huge struggle all the time. And there's always different seasons and chapters in life for sure. I mean, I'm a single mom, and growing your business and trying to outsource and time management, it's always like you feel like you have it under control and then you don't, right? So you're like, oh, I think I have it under control. And then the next day something throws something at you, and then your whole schedule is off again. And now you have to redo this whole schedule all over again, especially with COVID. I mean, when we first started COVID in March or whatever, I had a system and stuff going for a while, and before COVID. And then when COVID came, I had another system, and then it just keeps changing all the freaking time.
So I think I'm most excited about is learning how to be okay with things not being okay all the time, and to kind of like learn to adapt and just be like resilient and adaptive. Resilient, I think, is a word that's used often recently in a lot of like things we're reading and in the media, but you really don't understand the word. Like logically you understand it, but you really learn it when life kind of comes crashing down on you. Not that I encourage anyone to create a crash in their lives, but I'm saying it's totally doable. Yeah, I'm excited to relearn that, I think. Also, this is the first year that all of my education, I also have an MBA. I'm an economics major. So all of my education and like the numbers side of things and creativity, I love writing and I write a lot. And coaching other people and knowing what I know in marketing has really come together into my signature process. Finally, it's all come together. I was such a seeker for such a long time. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose? How am I supposed to help people? Like, I knew I had to help people in this lifetime. That was like my calling, but I just didn't know how.
Right.
And it's finally come together into a signature process that is finally is in alignment.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, there's a signature process eventually where you're like, yes, and you finally grab onto it and use it.
Yes.
Sure.
So.
So my last question for you is, what advice would you give somebody, whether they're just starting off or they're trying to be a coach, or, they're trying to take that business to the next level? What advice would you give them?
So I would say that one of the things that I wish someone would have taught me was to really figure out what is important to me in terms of the lifestyle I want to have and how I want to impact the world.
Mm-hmm.
Why it's important for me to have a business and to keep constantly rooting into that and to keep coming back to that, and to always, the second thing is to always notice, to make sure you track all the time, over and over again, your accomplishments, because our mind will always take us to places that aren't working first. Mm-hmm. And if you are not used to thinking in this way of like, it's not really positive thinking. It's like, let's look at what's working first versus what's not working first. It's easier to solve what's not working when you come from a place of like, higher, like when you're uplifted and inspired because of what's working, to fix what's not working, rather than the other way around. So if you look first at what's not working, you're going to be immediately like, oh, and then you won't want to look at what's working. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like, so I try to always start my day with list of things to do, or end my day with lists of things to do for the next day, so that I can check that off. But more importantly, kind of look at what I did accomplish, right? Because there's so many hours in the day. So even if I just wrote one email, that like email campaign or whatever, and got that off my plate for that day, I can still feel like, oh, I'm accomplished, and not working on overdrive and missing out on my son's time, so yeah. Really, and that goes back to time management, like really figuring out what needs to get done, when it needs to get done, and how can we feel accomplished with it.
Right. That's actually one of the things in my programs is I have my clients fill out a weekly form that has very specific questions. And one of the things is, what did you accomplish this week? Mm-hmm. Always, always, always going back. Their daily work also has to do with them noting their accomplishments at the end of the day, every day. But at the end of the week, they also have to take all of that and put it into a weekly form that says everything they've accomplished. And imagine when you think you're not accomplishing things, but you're constantly like in the energy of accomplishing because you're writing it down and you see it, the brain needs to see it, then you feel more accomplished.
Yeah, even when I work with like coaching or consulting people too, like we have a weekly form. I mean, sometimes they don't really fill it out, but we still do like the progress. Like we talk about what they've gotten so far and where they've come and how they can keep building. Because a lot of times people get hooked up on, well, I'm not getting sales, or I'm not getting new follows, or I'm not getting new likes, or this isn't working, or that isn't working. Okay, well, let's look at what has worked and what is been accomplished, because everything takes time, and it's a step in a process. Like every little thing matters. You can't just climb the mountain without all the right tools.
One of the things that I see often is just in terms of like marketing, but I guess in general also is, for example, I saw somebody post something in a Facebook group I'm in. Hey guys, I want to promote this blah, 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 my offer. What group do you know where I can post things and get the most engagements, likes, and comments? And I was just thinking to myself, like, this isn't how it works. Like, you have to be constantly working towards something and showing up, and noticing what's working and not working in order to be in a place where things are working and you're getting all the likes and engagement. It's not like you could just show up and get all the likes and engagement. You have to be showing up consistently before that.
Well, even likes and comments and shares, oh, those are always great, right? But there's always this saying, do they pay the bills? Are they converting? I mean, you can have a million likes and comments and shares, but are they converting, right? That's the bigger thing. Or what are you doing wrong? Like, if at the end of the day, if it's people are just commenting or liking it, but they're not converting, what good is it? So it's really diving in deeper beyond that. And you and I could definitely know that's true. That's a whole nother topic, but kind of understanding that.
True.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed having you on, and I hope that you were able to share some great stuff with everybody. Yes. And I will put your links in the bio and people can check you out.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for listening in on this episode today. Please make sure to check out the links from your guest and Visions to Images to learn more about each other. It takes a village, as you know, so connect and grow with one another together. Thank you so much for listening.